Endpoints, let's give it up for Mr. Romanus R Prabhu, Global Health Technical Support, UEMS, Manage Engine. Mr. Prabhu, stage is all yours. Kindly come on up.
All right.
Mr. Prabhu, you are one of our amazing elite partners, so thank you so much for that, firstly, for supporting 𝐂𝐲𝐿. And the trend here is, before you start the session, one small innocent question we ask and one small innocent answer is what you give. So our question to you is, what's the most bizarre question a non-tech individual has asked you that made you go, what, really? On technology.
Okay, my kids are using my phone.
Huh.
How to prevent my official data being explored by them?
Okay. So that made you go, why?
Sorry?
So the question is, what is the most bizarre question a non-tech individual has asked you on technology? Oh, so the answer is?
Basically, you have containerization on the mobile devices.
Huh.
Then when you configure that, you will be able to separate your official data in one container, which cannot be accessed from
I preferred the first answer. I'm sure the second part is what they got. The first one I understood. Fantastic answer, Mr. Prabhu. Stage is all yours. Absolute delight to have you with us. Thank you so much. Yes, and here's yours.
I trust each one of you is happy, healthy, and being a blessing to others. So this 15 minutes is going to be about building cybersecurity strategies for your business endpoints. I'm from Zoho, Manage Engine. The IT division of Zoho is called Manage Engine. So we have so many products, starting right from IT service management, identity and access management, SIEM, and IT operations, advanced analytics, which is kind of sits across all our products and give you business intelligence, and unified endpoint management. And this 15 minutes is going to be only about unified endpoint management and security. And we have the solution available on cloud, MSP ready also. Right. So let me start with the cyber security trends. The previous session was so thoughtful and it has given us a lot of visibility. So on the same lines, so you would find that there is a trend happening, right? So we had seen this change in work culture, work from office to work from home, work from anywhere, digital workplace. Now then, because of that, endpoints started moving from inside your secured perimeter to the outside world, right? And then, because the endpoints were outside the organization, away from your secured fort, and there is a possibility of endpoints being attacked for its vulnerability or anyway, so that you should be able to get ransomware attacks for your endpoints and thus into the business. Now, keeping these trends in mind, let's move forward. This is the data which I have taken from Microsoft. Now, typically when we talk about security, people start thinking about enterprise level security. But what we see here is 70% or so is already being attacked in case of SMBs. And 1 in 4 is already attacked. And 50% who are able to sustain the attack feels that there is a skilled manpower in the organization. That's what has been discussed in the previous panel discussion also. Now, I want to make it clear, even a small, medium range organization should also have security of enterprise grade. Because the problem, the attacks which are going to happen on your network, on your endpoint is sophisticated, modernized, weaponized, and there is no differentiation between the enterprise attack and a small, medium-sized organization. So it's all the same. So we have to consider a solution probably which is enterprise grade. Probably the difference is you have to have a distributed, wider way of managing it, rather than for the small and medium, it's going to be limited within a few locations. Since we started talking about ransomware, look at this. This is again a screenshot taken from Microsoft. Now, the ransomware attack has changed over the period. So we all understand that the popular one which made us think about the ransomware is about WannaCry, right? 2017, NHS was the worst hit organization. Now, from then to now, there is a huge increase in case of ransomware, not only in terms of the attacks, but also in terms of ransom, which is taken as a profit by the threat actors, right? Now, think about this. Now it is human operated, more targeted towards organization. That's why you would find smaller, medium organizations are being attacked, and also not once, multiple times. Now, the reason being that is, you might have heard about this, ransomware as a service is available now, right? Any small-time cyber security awareness person could become a cyber threat to the organization or anywhere, adversary. Now, you would find documents which will teach you how to recon on an organization which is profitable and how to use the tools to get into the organization and use their ransomware as a service to attack them. These are available even now in Amazon, right? Now, that is how it has been commercially available and made profitable. That's the reason you will find more ransomware attacks are happening. Now, moving on, this is a recent report which talks about number of incidents which has increased comparing the 2021 to Q1 to 22 Q1. So now you would find more increase in all segments, not only about IT, it's also finance, healthcare, and all segments. And across all size of organization. Now, here is the interesting stuff. There are organizations which study the attacks, the patterns, and standardize how these threat actors are getting into your infiltrating and then doing defensivation, persistence, and then exfiltration with the data. Now, you would find a lot of tools being used here, right? And there is a type of tool which is given in the second column. Most of them are free tools, right? Some of them are open source. And there are few which are COTS software, which is commercially off the shelf. You can just buy and start using it. Now, consolidating all this, they say that 90% of the tools which an attacker use is basically a free tool, right? And only 9 to 10% is something which they have developed in terms of encryption or ransomware as a service. Now, let's flip this scenario. When an adversary or a threat actor can see your network, and there is a gap in the network, and through the free tools, you should be able to flip the situation and get this view from the free tools available, right? So you can use the same tools. Read the, you are all CIOs and decision makers and IT teams. So you should be able to understand when you're able to read those reports, you can use the same tools, revert the situation, see your network from the threat actor's point of view, from his eyes, and you will find the gaps and then take the action. Now, this becomes tricky when you have living off the land kind of attacks. What do you mean by that? You have a company-provided device, company-provided identity, and it is happening in the organization network. And then the tools used were, like I said, WMI PowerShell, right? Now, you cannot suspect any point from the device to network to person to the applications which are used. Now, if there is an attack with this combination, that's very tricky for you to understand. That's where people talk about EDR, XDR, and other behavior analysis tools which could find real-time prediction and comparing this for you to take a decision. Now, we recommend our customers go by a layered approach. So what do you mean by a layered approach? This, I kind of borrowed it from the Johari window. No, people know about this. Joseph and Harrington devised this basically for ensuring the concepts are explained better, psychology based. Now, I kind of borrowed it to explain our layered approach to the security. The first quadrant, this is against a vulnerability against remediation. The first quadrant is all about known vulnerability against known remediation. So you have a problem, you have a bug, you have a risk, and there is a fix for that. You know that it is available. Now, points are not in a controlled environment, so they are outside. Now you have to understand what is the availability and what is the bandwidth. Nowadays the patches are not in MBs, they are all in GBs, right? Now you have to understand that and deploy. So there is a lot of understanding about the availability of the endpoint is required here. This is your first line of defense. Ensure your basic cyber hygiene is maintained in terms of OS, application, third-party applications, third-party OS, things like that. First defense, first line of defense. And then I kind of take quadrant 2 and 3 as a second layer, right? So what is it? You have a lot of blind spots with respect to your endpoints. Now, you have to have better spotlights, get visibility on those blind spots so that you should be able to understand it and have controls over it. For example, so you have patching, that is vulnerability, right? Apart from patching, there are applications which are not required for the organization. Say, for example, if torrent is being used, right? Or if there are other data storage applications are used in the organization, it kind of gives you attention, or you don't have to have it because there is a chance of data being leaked. And if there are obsolete protocol, old protocols which are still being enabled, please understand the WannaCry attack was basically because of SMB v1 version, which Microsoft had released a patch to disable it probably 10 days before the attack has happened, but nobody bothered to install the patch, even the servers which were internet facing, right? That is the cause of WannaCry. Now, those things have to be misconfigurations, unwanted applications, right? Those standards should be brought to your knowledge, and you should be able to understand and take control measures over that. And most interesting stuff is about the browsers. So I don't know how the browser's standardization is happening, but your first line of defense, cyber hygiene, patching is not going to help you if you patch your browsers, right? It could patch the browser and move it to the latest and apply the patches, but nothing inside the browser is patched. Your extension, your helper objects, your plugins, you don't know what is that doing and what privilege is that running, whether it is leaking data to the outside world. Nobody knows about it unless you have a better visibility, give a report on that, and then you should be able to control the versions or the access privilege, what it should have. And then I know organizations which has given administrative rights, local administrative rights to the endpoints which were roaming outside. Basically, the demand for the business. Now, when you think about productivity versus security, initial days, probably 2 years back when we started going on for work from home, most of the IT teams from my customers decided they have to support productivity first. And once the productivity was okay, then they moved on with more security, right? So that's how it happened. And there we had administrative rights given to the local users. When those endpoints come back to organization, the security posture of the endpoint against your corporate or organizational standard is far. So when it comes inside, it has to be quarantined automatically, not at the network level, but from the endpoint level at least, and then you should be able to bring it from the patch point of view, from unwanted applications, from the configuration, security configuration we have, what you have enforced. Then it has to come to a standard where it is acceptable by the organization. Then move it to the production network. Okay. So that is another blind spot. And then moving on, you have USB ports on the laptops and the devices. Now, how are you going to control them? You have to audit or disable that. Whenever you need, you should be able to open that. But moreover, if you are able to do the data leak prevention, define what is sensitive data according to your organization, right? And from there, you should be able to control. It could be PII, it could be PHI, right? According to your organization, define that, and it will ensure it is not leaking through the USB ports or print screen and any other manner from the endpoint. However, if you're allowing the mobile phones, that's a different story. So you have to have a different policy for that. Now, based on these, you get better visibility and you should be able to enforce controls when you see the gap. This is your second line of defense layer. The third layer is all about, which I was talking about, living off the land kind of attack. Device, known network, known applications, known identity. Now, that is happening, then you should have probably what the previous panel discussion was going through that. It should be EDR and XDR-based approach. Real-time detection, near real-time detection. So it will have a lot of combination. You have a baseline. You have collected a lot of data, telemetry data. So basically, a high-level, very high-level EDR, right? So at the endpoint level, it knows what's happening in terms of process, registry, APIs, file operations, things like that. And based on that, there is detection happening, and you have IOC sweeps where based on the ERA rules or not, or even if you can write the Sigma rules, you should be able to get that done, and then goes to the forensic mode, and then a response. Whether you want to, that's where you come to make a decision, whether it's a false alarm or you want to just allow that, and based on the response, it's going to either do a micro-segmentation or give some response or restore the data which could have got started encryption, so it will kill that and restore the data. Now, this is with respect to EDR. Now, what is the difference between EDR and XDR? It was beautifully explained in the last session. I'm just giving my perspective. So instead of collecting data from single security source, which is your endpoint, XDR is going to collect from multiple security stores, right? EDR, NDR, network detection and response, and then you have SIEM. So when you go about this and collect all this data and correlate, you should be able to get a better visibility where you have the Mitre attack or Lockheed Martin known tactics, techniques, and procedure. It will fall within that. You should be able to get better visibility. Now, doing this is also giving you a better visibility in terms of management, right? So I said EDR, XDR is all about collecting telemetry data from the endpoints, right? Or other security resources, sources. Now, when you are able to get those data, apart from security, you can also do better things in terms of actionable, doable items. This is for example, right? When you have done with some installation and that installation of a particular application or a driver is causing a problem, if it is a driver, the end user might not be able to give you a visibility or come back and complain to you. But the data is coming to you, so you will understand what is the performance of the application before it was installed or after that. And if there are any crashes in the application, you should be able to get. And if there are a chance to just go on a power mode or save power, you should be able to get more visibility. So this insight is something you should be able to get. And what is this going to give you? One, a better automation and better employee experience. When I say employee experience, the basic endpoints the health of the endpoint, you should be able to get before end user is going to come and complain, right? You have an application running, the battery is going low on an endpoint, or the application which is not performing well, then you should be able to. Okay, for example, Firefox latest version, you have your own application. So you have updated, the Firefox is not performing well. It would be able to go through that and give you, out of your 2,000, 3,000 endpoints, here there are 500 machines which have got upgraded, they are performing very poorly. Revert, that's the suggestion. So go back to the old version and then check the latest version compatibility, right? You would be able to get better visibility so that the employee experience could be better. And finally, those who are doing the first line of defense, we all understand about the 0 days, right? When there is a 0 day, it is unknown, right? Nobody knows what is the problem, nobody knows what is the solution. There are 3 parties connected to it: the customer, the vendor, and the threat actor. And in this case, only the threat actor knows about vulnerability, not others, right? Now, this one, the patch management becomes so challenging. So you have to have a replica of your production network for you to test before it goes to the production network. Now, having all the possible combinations, so we should be able to just pick up that and give you a pilot or UAT, whatever, the policy what you have. Similarly, the target's availability. I was talking about when is the endpoint available? So how long, what is the bandwidth available for it? So those things could be automatically taken care and can give you a better automation in terms of even the layer 1 protection. Now finally it comes to the security posture. And this is something which we kind of envision about the telemetry data that what we collect, which is going to help you with endpoint management, security, and the EDR, XDR, and finally also about employee experience, automation, and more better security posture for your endpoints for the organization. I have tabulated the products against each from the Manage Engine Zoho's point of view. So we should be able to give you better visibility if you have any requirements or questions in terms of technology and how this can be done. So we would be able to happy to assist you on that. Thank you so much.
Amazing presentation, Mr. Prabhu. Ladies and gentlemen, a bigger round of applause